So, I continued reading Solo Leveling after I did my first impressions video, and I wanted to do another video on this series, because after the revelation that kind of happened in the arc I read, I wanted to talk about it. And I was talking about it on social media, and if you follow me, then you know what I'm probably going to talk about in this video. But before I go any further, though, I just do want to say quickly that this video does contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen my first impressions video, which I uploaded like 2 days ago, then I recommend seeing that first before you watch this video, because like I said, this does contain spoilers. Like the images and stuff I want to show is probably going to contain spoilers, and the stuff I want to talk about is going to contain spoilers, so I don't want to ruin certain things that happen, and at least the context of it. So okay, with that out of the way though, Solo Leveling definitely had an interesting turn. It definitely turned to be something different. It was obvious that the MC was going to get very powerful. Stronger, to probably eventually compete with the top level individuals. Makes sense. That was already a given just because of chapter 11 to 12 and all that, and the whole double awakening. It made sense. So that does not come as a surprise. And obviously people wanting to challenge him and all that makes sense too. But what he did in the arc, like between the chapters like 20 to 30, was definitely something I didn't think his character was capable of. But also it once again goes along with the personality trait we saw when he was dying and he got his second chance. He was really just angry with individuals that left him to die. He didn't want to die. He wanted to have another chance to not die, etc. And you kind of see that little trait of his personality kind of come to the surface of his personality, to where he protects himself at all cost, even if it means that he has to harm others. And I'm not talking about just leaving bruises or breaking bones. I'm talking about, like, done. Just completely done. And it just, like, this image alone explains it all. It literally explains what he did, which is just, whoa. And I couldn't believe it, because I thought there might have been, like, a way out for him not to have to do that, but he did. He did do it, which I was like, oh, okay. And to kind of clarify, or at least my impressions of it, he's had the system gift him a large amount of power. He's been given a second chance thanks to this system that created him and turned him like into a player. And because of this system that is giving him strength, he's been using it to get stronger. But the very system that gave him strength and he was utilizing for his own gain, straight up started to use him and turn him against others, and he had no other choice. For instance, if he did not end the threats that was before him, he would die. Even if they didn't do a lethal blow to him, he would die by the system. The system would be like, you're done. And which is scary, because he was left in a moment that basically said that you will die if you do not complete this test. And he has no reason to not believe the system. And the reason why is because of what happened around chapter 12 to 13, when he was stuck in the desert with that giant centipede running away from it for 4 hours. That basically showed that the system does mean what it says. You will be punished. And for something as simple as, let's say, doing little squats, running, push-ups, etc., giving you a punishment to where you're having to run for 4 hours from a dangerous centipede that can basically end you in one shot, then it makes sense now why he trusts the system, and he wouldn't take any risk whatsoever. So, in that moment, he had no other choice. There was no other way out. But still, to see his character actually make that choice is what really means a lot. He made that choice to take people's lives, which, in that moment, it kind of put him in a gray area. I want to call him a villain, but I necessarily can't, because a villain is someone that's just evil. But you can't really say he's evil, because he didn't do that just for fun. He didn't do it just because he likes to do it. That's not necessarily the case. However, the character that he was with that was calling him maybe a false ranker, which we know he's not, but, you know, him talking about how false rankers are, you know, sociopaths or psychopaths, I don't think that's far from the truth when it comes to the MC. I do believe he's probably a psychopath or a sociopath, because what he has done is definitely something that isn't necessarily normal, regardless of your situation and the system, etc. So I am in agreement with that observation of his character. However, like I said, I don't think he's a villain, because he is someone that protected himself. He was basically being like a cornered animal. It's kind of like a dog, honestly, or certain creatures in the wild. There's some really kind and beautiful creatures in the world, dangerous ones at that too, but there's some that are very docile, or some that are very passive until you push them into a corner to where they have nothing else they can do but strike back at you and end you. And that's kind of what happened to him. He was someone that gave them out. They had opportunities to not be scum, but they decided to do it anyways, and so he was a backed up dog in a corner that struck back at them. So you can't necessarily blame him for the actions, because he had no other choice. The system gave him no other choice, but they also put him in that position where he had no other choice. So at the end of the day, he is definitely someone that isn't a villain, but he's not a good guy. He is definitely not a good guy, by any means. He is not a good person. He may probably protect the people he loves, but he is not a good person. Let's just get that very, very clear. On the table right now, he is not a good person. He is definitely someone that has potential to maybe become a villain. But for now, though, he's not that. It's still just... It's kind of crazy just to see what he did. Which, okay, so... Let's talk about the story in general now. Now that I kind of got that out of the way, Solo Leveling as a story, I think now what I see going on here, at least with where the story is going now, is that the MC is going to be trying to achieve S rank. He wants to get to S rank, he wants to be able to help out the kid that he saved, help him become a guild master, and then eventually he'll be able to get recognized, have his own party, etc., help out his family, and, you know, he's just slowly getting stronger. And in turn, we have this other dude that's going to be coming to mess with him very soon, because the person, a part of the party that the MC got rid of, was the younger brother of someone that is very strong, a part of the top ranks of hunters. So because of that, he's led into some issues, and we got a really serious arc going on. The story does have a lot of potential. It definitely does. After seeing what I've seen now, it definitely holds strong for a good story. The characters are very engaging and different, and the artwork is beautiful, which I've already talked about in my first impression, so I don't really need to get back into that. But artwork is definitely better than I expected it to be. I mean, I'm not saying webtoon slash manhwa can't have good art. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying most of the time manhwa and webtoons, they have kind of like a roughish side to them, which is charming in its own way, but you don't really see it as polished. Okay, I hopefully understand where I'm going with that. Like, it's just usually not as polished as some manga you would see. But this is kind of like in between. It's rough, but also polished. And it has like this back and forth moment with its art style, which I think is just truly cool to look at. Especially in the moment when he went all like psychopath against, you know, the group that was trying to, you know, back him up into a corner. So, the story though, I think that at this moment though, him trying to get stronger definitely fits in with how people really would be if you're in his situation. If you were gifted the ability to level up and up your stats, you would. Let's be honest with each other. If you somehow had a magical entity like a system come in as like, do this daily workout session, etc., and you'll be able to get stronger, put your stats in anything, you would do it. I know I would. I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely do it. So, seeing his drive is very human. Wanting to learn about things, studying things and all that, it's very, very human. And seeing how he went into the dungeons like he did, like the first dungeon he did, like the E-rank dungeon, and then he took out the snake, shows how strong he can get if he keeps doing stuff like that. If he keeps, like, going on the grind, not giving up, he can become extremely powerful to rival the strongest of people, and even probably surpass S-rank hunters and become something way beyond that, like a god or something. Which does make me wonder what could potentially challenge him, because, I mean, if he can keep getting his strength stronger and stronger like he is right now, I wonder if he will ever have a challenge. Will he end up, let's say, like a Saitama from One Punch Man, or will he eventually hit a wall to where he needs to overcome it? There's a lot of questions I have. I do wonder if he necessarily has a limit to his strength, because in some RPGs there is limits. Like when you think about, let's say, an RPG game, sometimes, let's say, level 60 is the max level, or level 99 is the max level. Sometimes games allow you to go indefinitely until, like, let's say you get to level 999 or 9,999, etc. You get my point. Sometimes there isn't a limit, but then the system breaks. Now, I wonder how the system necessarily works with his leveling. Does it have a cap? Does he have a level cap? And if he has a level cap, can he break that level cap? And if he doesn't have a level cap, will it glitch out like a system actually does? When you go past a certain threshold, the level goes to, let's say, -1. Like, would that happen? So, I have a lot of questions about his strength, but I do believe eventually it's probably going to be revealed. Now, yeah, I like this story. I think solo leveling has definitely caught my interest. I want to continue reading it. I might do one more video probably before I try to catch back up, like catch up to the story and then do a video on the latest stuff, but I do think solo leveling has a lot good going for it, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'm glad so many of you guys recommended me this story if I can read it, because it's refreshing. It's, like I said in my first impressions, it's refreshing to read something just very different from the normal style of a manga. I don't know, it's just something that makes me just even more engaged with the story than normal, and I like it. Which by the way, I've been looking into other manhwa. Many people have been recommending, let's say, Unordinary to me, which I think I'm going to check out as well very soon. I've been told that's a really, really good one, so I do want to check that one out. And then I heard about, let's say, Hardcore Leveling Warrior, something like that. I've heard some good ones people have introduced to me, so I'll definitely look into it. But yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And so if you want to see more content like this, me talking about solo leveling or other manhwa, also let me know in the comments below, because it's very important. Let me see what you guys actually want to see. So love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.